Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right.
We are live. Welcome to another daily writing motivation stream. I'm your host, Kauffman, and I am on a mission to solve the writing problems of the world by putting a dragon on it. So come join us, because today we're going to be doing not one, not two, not three, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 10 writing sprints. We're playing it by year. So for today's sprint, I'm doing something, I'm mixing things up a little bit with you guys. I've invited some other writers from the community to come write. And I don't know how many sprints I'm going to do today because I need to get progress done on Scarecrow. So today we are going to be super productive. We're going to get some work done. During the breaks, we'll chat. We'll talk about shenanigans, whatever writing craziness is on mind is on hand. And then we'll see. We'll see what the vibe is. So we'll start off with our first writing sprint with just 25 minutes, and that will be fire. But before we do, let me see who else hopped into the studio. So let me hop over here, and it looks like Calvin. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Great to have you here. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Calvin, sometimes on camera, sometimes off. Calvin, if you just want to do a little quick intro, I'll give it to you.
Good to be here, Jared. Name's Calvin Hammond. I write sci-fi military, and I am releasing my first book as of right now on May 15th.
Excellent. So exciting. What are you working on today, my friend?
I'm working on the second book, Nox Infinita.
Ooh, that's exciting. So exciting. Granted, I might be a little biased, but it is a great book.
Is the bias all you like?
So very, very cool. The fact that you're on the second book is so awesome. So fire. And then it looks like I had another one of our friends here show up in the studio. So let me formally welcome Miss Holly Davis to the scene. Welcome, Holly.
Hello, I realized I had to unmute myself. Hello, I'm a cat mom extraordinaire over here. The pets are like, you were gone and then you came back and there's food on the table and like.
Well, I'm so happy for you to join us, Holly. For those of you who might not remember Holly, Holly, do you want to give a little quick intro?
Yeah, I know it's been a while. I feel so bad. So thank you for having me. I'm big. It feels good to be back. I'm the author of A Diamond Bright and Broken, which is a YA fantasy. I am hard at work on the sequel, writing that first draft. But this is a YA fantasy tangled retelling with a female Flynn writer with disability and LGBTQ rep. So if that sounds good to you, you will enjoy my book. So I'm super happy to be here.
Sweet. And Holly, what are you working on today?
I'm going to be writing the sequel. I did do some sprints earlier in the day, so I'm almost already at 1K written today, which is really good.
Awesome.
Yes. Yeah. And in February, even though I was sick with the flu and only wrote for like five days out of the month, that was the most I had written in a month since June. So I am making progress, getting to the halfway point of the story, and just excited to keep writing all of the words.
Awesome. I know my goal for February was to get through 70,000 words. I don't know how close I got. I got a lot. I did do a really nice push. Nice. I felt February I was very productive, but I don't know how close I got to my 70,000 word goal. So, but we'll chat about that on the break. So let's hop into our first writing sprint. My first writing sprint of the day. Sounds like I might be playing a little bit of catch up here. So yeah, we'll see what writing shenanigans we can get into. For everyone here in the stream, make sure to stick around. We'll catch up on the break. I'm also launching with 2 exciting launch announcements today. We're launching both the brand new, the ReadNow book club, and the updated YouTube channel membership with a new tier. So I'm so excited about that. I'll chat about those in a bit, but let's get some writing. I feel the writing vibes come on. I need to get through this craziness. So let's get into it. Perfect. So I have the writing timer and sprint all set up. We'll start off with a 25-minute sprint, and we'll kick it nice and easy. Try to get into the flow of it just a little bit, and hopefully we can make some progress. So come join us, whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing. That's all part of the process because it's time to write now. All right. Writing sprint done. Writing sprint number 1 done. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How'd that treat you guys?
It went pretty good for me. Let's see. I actually managed to shell out just under 400 words, which is pretty good.
Yeah, you're like hopefully able to get some progress. So you got about 400. I got distracted for about the first 7 minutes with admin. But once I got over that hurdle, then I was in a much better place.
Nice. And I wrote, what is that? 189 words about
Okay,
yeah,
that's not too bad.
I was eating my lunch. Gosh, I took such a late lunch. I'm usually hungrier much sooner, but it was 3 o'clock my time.
You're
But
like
anyways,
you need that brain food.
yes, yeah, for sure. So it's good. I tried to get you know, I was just like, it's the first of the month, new budget. Like, I don't want to make anything. And my husband has the vid for the first time ever. So he's just, um, you
The
know,
vid.
the vid is what I call the grand panini, or the grand panini, as Zara calls it. Yeah, the COVID. Yeah. But anyways, I call it the vid. So, um, but yeah, so I'm like, okay, he needs like nourishing food. Let's get this like power bowl from this like restaurant that, it's all healthy stuff. So he can get some vegetables because otherwise he won't have that himself. So
Oh, really? He'll just gotcha. So you
he's
got to
like,
make sure that he recovers.
yes, yeah. He's like the chicken burritos. And I'm like, okay, let's get some like fruits and vegetables in here.
That's when you set. That's when you set them up a little decontamination chamber, and it's like, okay, food gets put in here. I close this door, back away 20 feet, and then you may approach the door to get your food.
Yeah, that's essentially like what happened. He's just been like quarantining in his room and sleeping on the couch, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel so bad because he's been sleeping on the couch since I had the flu
Mm-hmm.
in early February, and then he got sick. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I haven't hung out with him in like a month and a half. So
Oh God, isn't that the worst? Like, is it even possible to, when you live with others, and especially with family, is it even possible to survive illness without it spreading to everybody?
yeah. Yeah. And thankfully, like when he started getting sick, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, it was not for me. I was careful. Like we were quarantined. And so for him to get like COVID, I was like, see, it wasn't the flu. Like you didn't get it from me.
So, in your flu-induced state back in February, did you at least generate some good ideas from all those fever dreams?
I think so. And I did a lot of reading. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that kind of like helped like motivate me and kind of give me that like, oh, I'm reading such good stories. Like I can't wait to work on my own. And it was good because like I finally had some like breathing room where yeah, just randomly throughout the day, I would think of something. And so I'd have to like write it in my phone, like, oh, yeah, like this plot point or this random thing, which like
Mm-hmm.
my brain hasn't been doing lately. I think just because so
Mm-hmm.
much has been going on. So I was like really
Mm-hmm.
grateful. I'm like, okay, I like this.
And then remind me, so you're working on the second book of your series,
Yes. And
which
it's a
both
duology.
you guys are in the same place. You guys are both working on book two.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Now
I'm like
mine's a duology
brainstorming
though.
book two.
So it's only two. This will be the end. Whereas is yours more than one book or more than two, rather?
I don't know how many books this is going to be. I only have planned up to book 3, and as I've
Mhm.
told everyone, it's like I'm trying to get through book 2 so I can get to book 3.
Yeah, I mean I think that's interesting because I know for my series, for the Last Scarecrow, a Dawn of Magic series, I know what the overarching story plots are. I know what the overarching story is for the entire series.
Mhm.
I also know Scarecrow's story arc throughout the series. And then I have ideas for the other characters. But I think that the challenge that I am potentially faced with is I don't know how many books I need to tell that story. And I think that's where I'm kind of stuck. I'm like, okay, well, maybe, I mean, I know minimum 3 books. So I'm like, okay, is this a trilogy or is this something that I expand further? Because I mean, as a fantasy writer, right, I know I could write a standalone series. It could be shorter, and then you can always expand to different parts of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not sure. So that's
That's
why
okay.
it's I probably have to take a hard look once I am completely bookmarked with book 1 and I'm done with, I feel done enough, then I probably need to plot out from a book by book narrative how many books I need to tell the story in a way that serves the characters.
Yeah, I think that's exciting that you have that, like, it's so expansive that, like, you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
maybe it'll be more because you can be like with those characters more or like explore more of the world and like
Yes.
that's so
I, I
cool.
really, I really care about creating a story. I care about creating one of the most engaging stories that feel like writers or readers can get into it and get lost,
Mhm.
reread it, always explore new things, and then read book 2, 3, however many books, and then realize that there's things that they missed from book 1 and book 2. So it will always add to the experience. And I think Calvin, you were the one who said that Scarecrow felt like was it? I forgot if it was you. Somebody said it felt like a cross between Wizard of Oz, which I know I've put Wizard of Oz out there before, and a never
Mm.
story.
That was me.
Mm-hmm. And I was like,
Look,
Oh,
that's actually a great. That's like a great way to frame Scarecrow, except it's darker. So it's Wizard of Oz, never ending story in at the end of the world. I think that's the best way to frame it.
I love that. Sign me
Mhm.
up. Oh, that's
I
great.
know you and me both. I just need to finish writing it.
well,
And you,
never ending story was at the end of the world. It just, well, I mean, it was dark for a kid, but
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched Neverending Story. I need to go back and watch it, and I'm sure the book was better.
yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah, that'd be because yeah, it's been a while since I've watched it too.
Mhm.
So certain scenes I might skip through, fast forward.
Oh man, but I mean, yeah, I mean overall it's fun. I'm actually kind of curious, and I'd love to hear from the chat as well. Do you guys think expectations from readers tends to be for series? Do you think like most readers kind of want that, like, if I'm going to follow a story, I want to follow it over a couple books as compared to a standalone, at least when it comes to fiction anyways.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people want series because they want to be able to like they fall in love with the characters in the world and they want to follow it for longer.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's interesting to see how many people won't start a series until it's over and other people who are like, nope, give me the first book and whenever the second book comes out, I'm good. I'm in that train. I'm like, I just want to read the good story and I'll if I need to reread it, to remember what happened for the next book, then that's great. I'm going to read it again and it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people though are more like, I want the series to be completed because, you could just jump in a book, you read it, you love it, and then you're just thinking like, where the fuck is the second book? Why can't I find it? What black markets do I have to go to? What level of hell am I in that the author is not releasing the next book yet?
Yes, I love that. The
Oh, that's
best part
hilarious.
is thinking that there's only one book and then realizing, oh no, this book came out a couple years ago. Like there's a second and third book or like a novella, and you're just like so
Mhm.
excited, so it can tie you over until
Mhm.
like the third book.
Yeah, I've asked myself that same thing. I'm like, okay, well, in between the books, is there anything that I can write or launch that is far less time intensive that can still give readers something? Since I think I know without a doubt, like, I mean, I'm stuck at this point, as I'm sure you guys have seen or heard, that the rough draft came to about 140,000 words. But for me to adhere to at least mainstream trends, I need to get it down to 120. But in revising, I'm about 40% of the way through the draft. It's now at about 150 from the elements that needed to be added and adjusted. So it's just like I'm just making it more difficult for myself.
No.
Um, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't try to go for mainstream trends and I should just know that I want to create an epic, but then it makes it a little less accessible for a first time published book.
Mm.
I'm not sure. I'm like, I
Yeah.
kind of go back and forth on that one.
Well, for the most part, I think actually even then, a lot of publishers when they talk to you, they want to be like, "How many books have you actually written of this series?"
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them might be like, well, you've only got the one written. I don't want to deal with it because if you just got the one and it actually does turn out to be very good,
Mm-hmm.
but again, we're gonna have readers in some level of hell where it's like, where's the second book? Where's the third book? I want
Mm-hmm.
all the answers. I think they're more likely to take you if you can come to them and be like, how many you got written? Well, I've got 3 books written. Great, that'll keep me in business for 6 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's a good point. I mean, and I also know with publishers, once it's over, I think 120 or maybe 100,000 words, then it's more about costs of how much it costs per book. And it's like I forgot what word count it was. Holly, you might know this since you're with an indie, but I forgot where that like range is or where that cutoff is for publishers.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it was at least for Zara with Inimitable Books, because I was
Mm-hmm.
saying like, oh, this, my story is probably gonna, because I think Diamond was like around 80K,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I think Shadow is gonna be, or I'm not gonna say the sequel is going to be like at least like 100.
Like
And
300,000
she's
words.
like, that's okay. But like, if it's a little bit more, then we might have to make some cuts. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
somewhere between like 100 and 120, at
Mm-hmm.
least for her, is like the cutoff because, yeah, it just is.
It's about cost.
It's all the cost. That's essentially
Yeah,
what she
it's all
said.
costs. And I mean, like the books for popular mainstream books, where like generally the books become larger and larger. I think it's
Yeah.
because the earlier books are proof of concept that people are going to buy it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think like that can hopefully open it up to be like, hey, your book was successful. You have a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sales, a lot of reviews, and that
Mm-hmm.
then can lead to like, okay, you've proven yourself. Now we can
Mm-hmm.
go to this word count and spend a little bit more.
Exactly. And I think what I'm not sure about is I know for a fact self-publishing the first one, I made that decision. And that's more just so I can take everyone through the process as I self-publish it. But for future ones, I'm not sure what route I'm going to go. I'm almost incentivized at each book I want to go a different type of publishing so that way I can take the community through what that experience is.
I
So I'm
love
not
that. I
sure.
think,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I feel like you would be like so successful like self-publishing it because like
Hmm.
you and you being an editor too, like you have that eye to
Hmm.
like make it your own and have all that control. I feel like you would, yeah, I just feel like you'd be really successful with that route, obviously, if
Hmm.
you want to go like the trad pub route too, but I also want your
Yeah,
books
I was
out
like, I
faster.
don't. That's interesting. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't. I wonder if, I mean, traditional publishing would, of course, make it easier. I think if I did go a publishing route, I'd probably be more open to indie,
Mhm.
more because of the creative control.
Yes.
But I do want to hit mainstream appeal, so if I go trad publishing, I'm more likely to get more attention. So I don't know. I think it really just depends. I think that's something I play by year, and it depends on how close they get to what my goals are.
Well, what you should probably look at doing is being kind of like a little bit of both.
Hmm.
Self-publish yourself. Start off with
Hmm.
Scarecrow as a self-published book. Then, as time goes on and you get 2 or 3 more books, maybe appealing them to people, and you can maybe come back
Hmm.
with, "Hey, this is my first book. It did okay in the markets with just me doing it by myself."
Hmm.
You know, think,
Exactly, right?
I
And I think it's a good selling point, right? Of like,
yeah,
oh, I've done this much. And then I mean, the more days I stream, I think I start the conversation off with I've streamed for 500 consecutive writing streams or 600 or however much I get to. Maybe I'll get to 1,000. All right, guys, let's go to 1,000 consecutive streams. There's my next roadmap.
Yes, yes.
Oh man! And I see some comments in the chat. I know Mary was saying that Mists of Avalon ended up as a series with 3 prequels, and they were generational. I know Soul said sometimes the next book in a series is smaller, but in my experience, I always assume that the books, and at least in fantasy genre, the books get bigger. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a me thing. I feel like the books starting to get bigger because there's more story and world building. But I'm so
no,
used to reading in my fantasy genre as well.
no, I agree with you. Traditionally, if you take an author's books from 1 to whatever they're up to, they
Hmm.
start the first book has the smallest count, and then they gradually get bigger.
Hmm.
I mean, Christopher Poloni, who did the Inheritance Cycle, his third book was legitimately so large. Publishers told him, you got to cut it in half. And that's why he's got 4
And
books.
that's why it became 4.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good
why.
point. That's a
Apparently,
really good point.
the last book he wrote, the last book is one whole gigantic book. It was too. They're like, okay, this is great. It's too long.
And I love that series, so I'm glad it was broken up so that it was like digestible. Because even cut in half was still really big.
Yeah, I remember growing up when I was reading Aragorn, and I was so inspired by those books because he was young. I remember that. Um, awesome. Well, I think this is an excellent conversation to have. And thank you, everyone, for hopping into the chat. Real fast, let's do a quick call out and see if I can go here. And encourage you to follow and subscribe. I'm here every day with the Right Now community. Like I said, what, 300 something, 400? I was like, I don't even know what day is today. 400 consecutive streams and counting, and many, many more on the horizon. If you're looking for daily writing motivation, writing sprints, writers group, critique groups, author interviews, tomorrow's the podcast, our book club. We literally got it all here. Make sure to tap those buttons and you'll be alerted when we go live. All right. And then let me bring my friends back up. So real quick, guys, before we go back into the next sprint, I'm actually launching a couple things today. So I need to talk through it with the community real fast. And I know both you guys are aware of the first thing that I'm launching, which today is the official launch of the Read Now book club.
Yay!
And I was like, Holly, like I know like you've like you have your own book club. So I was like so encouraged. I know you were giving me some excellent advice. Yeah, I'm very excited about the experience. I know we've talked about it a little in depth. Let's see, I need to pull up the stuff. I know I've been talking about it a little more in depth as of late, but so everybody knows, right? We are launching the official Read Now book club today, and it's going to be an absolutely great experience. Let me switch to this screen here. So today is the launch of the Read Now book club. So essentially what this means is anybody who wants to, obviously anyone who wants to join our community and be a part of the reading experience, absolutely. But this is a book club for writers. I want to make this clear. This is a book club for writers. And then the question is like, okay, well, how do I do a book club for writers? We're splitting up the process in terms of our schedule. And let me pull this up. So we're splitting up our schedule in terms of the middle of each month. We're always going to be doing an interview. And then the end of the month, we'll always be ending with a live book discussion with myself and our fellow co-hosts, Courtney, Adrian, Laura, and Tiara. So we'll always be ending the month with our live discussion where we really get to analyze the book at the book and really understand like, okay, what did we like? What didn't we like? And how is it adhering to reader trends? So that way we can help boost each other. And then we'll always, always, always be focusing on the review aspect of it as well, because we want to make sure that we are supporting each other by leaving a review. Holly, I'm curious because I know you've just gone through this whole round of getting your book published. Have you gotten a lot of reviews for your book?
I have. I've gotten a decent amount. The thing that I realized that like I asked my friends, they're like, oh yeah, that's normal, that I didn't expect is that like people leave more reviews on Goodreads than Amazon. And I'm like,
Really?
and yeah, so I try to tell people, hey, just copy paste your review to Amazon because Amazon's what's going to show it to more people, once you get to 50 reviews. So I'm like closer to 50 on Goodreads than I am on Amazon. So that was something interesting, but I am like happy with the reviews that are coming out. They kind of started to slow down. So I'm like, please don't forget about me.
That's really cool though. That's good that you've recognized that though. And now it sounds like you're hopefully starting to get more reviews over there.
Yeah.
Have you seen it make a difference in book sales?
I think so. Yeah. Zara just started sending me like my monthly reports with book sales. So I only had like my bulk like up until like for all of 2024,
Mhm.
and then I had January's. So I haven't like seen like, oh, has that made a difference yet? But hopefully with February, then I can see like if it's working.
Well, that's very, very cool, Holly. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And once again, like that's why we're making reviews an important part of this. We want it to be an important takeaway of the book club. Those of you, everyone knows ML here in the community. We're launching the March pick of the month with Dead Caster, which is a paranormal fantasy. This was an excellent first book to start with. And I know like I want to read everybody's books, but my problem is time. I'm like, how do I read everybody's book? I'm already struggling with reading to begin with. So I'm hoping that this will help me personally, like encourage me with reading a little bit more frequently. And then the way that we're making this interactive with our community is essentially we're always going to we'll probably start this process in around the middle of the month. So after the author interview, the co-host, we will pick a genre. The community is going to then suggest books that they want to read within that genre. We're going to keep books indie author focused. So nothing that's too mainstream because we want to support other indie authors. Indie authors can recommend their own book. Indie authors can recommend other books as long as it's within the genre that we're setting a month by month. So for example, in around March 15th, after our interview with M.L. Claxon, we will then put out the genre. The community will suggest books. As a co-host, we will narrow them down to 6, and then we will let the community vote on which of the 6 they want to read for the following month. So then we will announce the next month's book by the end of the month live stream. So that's how the process that we're going. Now, of course, this is the first month of the Read Now book club. So of course things might change. Like we could always adjust systems here and there, but I think this feels right. Now, for those who want to be more involved in the discussion and maybe they don't want to wait for the live stream, we've set up a specific Discord channel for the Read Now book club. So there's a specific Discord channel. Anybody who wants to become a Read Now book club member, it's linked down in the YouTube description. And then I need to also drop it down. I'll drop it down in the chat as well for our Twitch friends over here. If you want to become a Read Now member, essentially what that's going to do is it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost anything. And it's just going to help us determine like, okay, who all is interested in this experience. I'll drop that there. So for anybody who wants to become a member, just fill out that form I just dropped. And yeah. And then the book is available. So for March, the book is available to purchase on Amazon. It's only $2.99, like $3 if you want to support the author. Or if you're enrolled in KU, Kindle Unlimited, it's free. Additionally, we will be making the book free for 3 days for all Read Now Book Club members from March 8th through March 10th. So if there's anyone who's like, you know what, I'm not sure if this is my style of book, but I still want to check it out, we're making it will be given as a freebie for that small period. And yeah, that's what we got.
So cool. I just got the book and I'm going to sign up because I want to try to read it.
Yes.
Yeah, super cool.
Exciting.
It looks really good.
For Holly, having like put a book club together, and I mean, Calvin, I'd love your input as well. What do you guys think about the framework of the Read Now book club? Like, how does it feel to you guys?
I really like it. Oh, sorry.
And
You go,
honest.
Calvin.
If it sucks, like, be honest.
No, I actually like it. The framework is very good. And I like the fact that we're not focusing on like popular books. I actually like the fact that it's more like, hey, we're trying to get indie authors to get them more recognition, notoriety. Let's face it, the stuff as indie authors we all crave. Because we could have the best writing novel out there, but if no one's reading it, it ain't doing us any good.
Yeah, that is the truth. Absolutely agreed.
And the thing is, I was just going to say, the thing is, most book clubs, they tend to focus on Dune. They tend to focus on Fourth Wing.
Like the mainstream books.
Yes. Things that are like, okay, everyone in the world is already talking about these books. One more, we don't need another book club talking about something that's already got 500 book clubs talking about it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think when we first met as co-hosts, when we all met together to start planning for it, I think the one thing that we all agreed on unanimously was we want to support indie authors. And then the thing I cared about was, well, yes, that absolutely. I also want to make it help the writers in our community improve their improve their skill set with writing as a part of being a book club member. And I don't think that's a thing that many book clubs do, but I'm not sure. I've had a lot of friends in book clubs, but I haven't been in too many myself.
Yeah, I really like that aspect that it's like for writers and you can like look at the craft too and then supporting the indie authors at the same time. And it just seems like really well organized where like there's still a lot of that you have open for interaction with people so they don't like forget, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be reading this book this month, but you've got the Discord group and the mid-month interview. I think that's really cool. So yeah, sounds like you've built a good thing that's gonna go really well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, both of you, for that. Appreciate your guys' feedback. Like I said, today's the first official launch, so it's kind of on my mind right now. And I wanted to make sure to share some of that with the community. And anybody who wants to learn more or talk about it, there's now an official Read Now Book Club channel in the ReadNow Discord. So if you are not a Discord member, go sign up, go join. It's linked down in the YouTube description down below. Right now I just added the link, so you'll only see it if you have the book club tag, which is why you need to fill out the form, and then I'll add the tag for you. I'll probably update Discord on Monday, because Monday is my Discord update, with the way for members to self-identify as Read Now Book Club members. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. Now, I know I have another update as well with the channel membership, but I'll come back to that on the next break because I think we should get some more writing done. All right, guys. Holly, Calvin, we're going to get work done this time. I feel good. Kauffman is not going to get distracted.
We got this.
Except the problem is if I get distracted, everybody can see it because I put it on screen.
No judgment.
I keep myself accountable.
No judgment.
Okay, so the last time we did 25 minutes, I feel like that kind of got me into the vibe, so I'm going to up it this time. Let's do 25. Let's go 35. So I'll add on 10 minutes. Let's do a 35-minute sprint. Awesome, and I feel pretty good about that. And then I got to get to the banner. So like I said, I don't know how many sprints we're going to do today, so both you guys are welcome to hang out the whole time or part of the time or whatever. Anybody who wants to hop on stream with us, you're more than welcome. I don't normally do open calls as often, but today I felt right. I'm like, let's try to help, try to motivate each other. I'm going to finish the book today. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's only 80,000 more words.
Yeah, it's just chump change.
Oh, Okay.
80,000, 80,000.
You know what? That's the mindset that I need. All right, my friends. So I am all ready. Make sure to stick around for the break and we'll chat again on the next break. But whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. And writing sprint done. Writing sprint done. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Woo, man! How'd that treat you guys?
Oh, good. Let me count up how much I got.
Oh man, I was like, whew, man.
We actually did things.
Yeah, I was like, I think I felt pretty good. I said, yeah, actually, I don't know. Let's see how many words I got. Chat, how many words did you get that time? Were you guys writing, editing, getting some progress? Awesome. So 960 words. So you always setting our gold standard over here.
Oh, nice. I wrote like 425. I've been needing to like use my calculator. If it's not like a straightforward, I'm like, I can't do this math in my head. It's so bad.
Let's see, how much have I? Let's see, I did about 600, but I'm also doing a mix of writing and revising, so it's kind of hard to say.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was kind of getting stuck at like a character part for a second and trying to decide how much character development I should do.
Like how much growth in their like arc, or
I'll answer that, but Callan, first, how much did you get?
I added another 500 words, and I was actually on the verge of finishing the chapter.
Excellent. And I'm almost at the end too, which is actually super exciting. And I can tell a couple of you guys got in there. So it was like I had to rewrite the last couple of chapters of my book, but 960. Courtney, I got the baby to sleep and read 5 books with the toddler. Nice. Success. Oscars, like, kind of bums me out when people say how many words they wrote, like it is a contest. And I could totally understand that. So, and I think, Oscar, something always really important to keep in mind is while we are all writing, like we're all working on our individual stories, it's never a compare contrast, right? And I actually just did a really great short video about this, but I've talked about this many times before. What happens is we end up comparing ourselves to others as a snapshot in that moment. But what we're forgetting to account for is we're not accounting for our entire journey, right? So somebody's at a different stage of their writing journey than we are. And we compare a moment, but we're not thinking about expertise, skill set, where we're at. Like if you're getting 500 words in the rough draft, that's very different than if you're getting 500 words after a proofread draft, right? And I think there's just a lot of things that we don't take into account, which is why I always like to urge that it's not a compare. It's more like we're setting our word count goals for like our personal achievements more than anything.
I mean, not only that, even if all you wrote down in the 20 minutes was just 50 words, whether you were editing or you added 50 words to your story, that's still progress in a direction.
Yeah, exactly, because it depends on our own goals. There's like been times in the writers group where people will write like 1,000+ words in like a sprint or even more, and I'm like, 5 words, hello.
Courtney literally gave that example. Say 5, we give the same amount of support.
Yeah,
exactly, right? Because regardless of how many words we do, all progress is great progress. Yeah, and I think that's really, we're all in different headspaces as well.
The only thing you never want to do during a writing sprint is just stand there staring at your screen or your piece of paper. If you're not writing, you're not doing anything. Even if all you're doing is going back and editing, that's still making progress.
Or rereading your work.
My only challenge to that is sometimes we have to come up with ideas, right? So like for me, like in that last chapter, based on kind of Holly, what you were asking, like I felt like I could have gotten 800 and 900 words if I had been a little faster and pushed myself. But I kind of had to pull back for a second and just kind of think, because there's this character arc. And so this is a standalone chapter. This is a standalone obstacle. But I decided to layer on an emotional character moment for the Scarecrow and the Pixie that I wasn't in the rough draft, that ties into their overarching character arcs. And I didn't have that originally because I wanted it to be a standalone chapter. But as I was revising it, it kind of just like fell into place. But then I had to think of like, okay, if I'm doing that, then I have to revise a couple more logistics for it to feel emotionally impactful and for it to make sense.
Yeah. Cool.
So I think it's balance. I think it's balancing the different elements.
Well,
Yeah.
even if you're just sitting there brainstorming, that's still making progress.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So important.
The goal is move forward in some way.
And I love Courtney's comment.
Yeah.
You're like, not a contest. We celebrate all progress. Say 5, we get the same amount of support. Absolutely. And that's what I love about this community, right? That's what I love about this. Everyone's like super supportive of one another.
Mhm.
I mean, technically, there was one of the writing sprints we did. If you compared the words I deleted with the words I added, I technically ended up in the negative.
Right. Well, and then you think like I have a friend who, yeah, she's one of those like 800-900 words in like 30 minutes, and I'm like, cool, if I get like 300, I'm like, woohoo. But and it doesn't mean that the words that she wrote are bad, but if I like, and sometimes I can bust those words out, but a lot of times if I go that fast, half of those words would be scrapped anyway. So so yeah, I don't compare, because like they might have 800 really good words, but if I did that, I would have 400 really good words.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think it's also recognizing what is my goal, like what's my average. Like for me, and this is a great question. I would love to hear from everyone. What's your like when you've had a good writing session, what is like an average for word count for you? I would love to hear that from everybody, because everyone's average is different. For me, my average word count in a good writing session is probably about 500 to 800 words. Some days I average 300 to 500, and some days I go about 1,000 to 15. But I feel really great if I've done a 500 to 800 word sprint, and I've gotten some ideas and I'm moving the story along.
In all honesty, for me, for just a sprint, if I get 300 words, I'm like, woo, that was a really good day. That was a good sprint.
Yeah.
Mostly because with my writing, I'm a pantser. I don't really plot shit out. I sometimes spend the first 5-10 minutes of our writing sprint thinking like, what am I actually going to write? And then
And that's that brainstorming part.
Yeah. And usually by the end, I might got 100 words down. It's like, okay, I only got 100, but it's 100 in a direction now compared to like, but that's why I said you got to do something. Brainstorming, editing, writing. Hell, even if you just have a crappy idea, throw it on the paper, because that's still something. You might be like, okay, I wrote 300 words, but I hate all 300 of them. So scrap it. It's still something. It's still something.
But then okay, well, though I know the 300 words that don't work, so now I can write the 300 words that will.
Exactly. Or
it's
even
all progress.
Or even 100 words that are like, okay, I only got 100 words, but I know they're going to stay here. So
and you know what's interesting is, Oscar, I know you're actually not the first one. I know someone's mentioned this in the past before, which is why I'm like, okay, so how do we share writing goals without it ever feeling like a negative? And really the takeaway I always want people to understand is the problem isn't the goals we share, it's comparing. Comparing is the enemy of comparing can be the enemy of progress.
Yeah, that's why there's I haven't done them in a while, but my friend, when she would be on my streams, like she's like, oh yeah, I would do this. So I would do these ladder sprints where the next sprint you try to write more than you wrote before. So it kind of puts it back on you, like where it's like you're just comparing yourself to yourself.
And
I mean, people have seen me on the stream so much. There's been so many days where I've like, all right, guys, I've gotten 5 words. I've gotten like 100 words. Like I've had a lot of those streams. I mean, what? So out of 400, and I always like to give everyone this statistic so that way, and this is just for me, out of 425 streams, there's probably been maybe about 75 of those streams where I wasn't in the writing mindset. And granted, I forced myself to write anyways, but of those 75 streams, there was probably like 40 or so streams where I just didn't write anything good. And I felt like it just wasn't good stuff that I created, but I still like forced myself to be in the vibe, and it all adds, right? You have to look at the larger the picture.
Yeah, kudos to you. It's like
yeah.
Awesome.
Again, it's about being in the right mindset.
That's exactly it.
And even if you're not in the right mindset, you don't need to write the whole novel in one sprint. If you're not in the mindset,
thank God. Oh, you don't? Oh my God!
Well, wait, we don't. I thought we would have to write a novel in a full sprint.
Well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it took me 2 years to finish the first book because I wasn't writing it all in one sprint. Okay, so if I'm doing it wrong, someone please correct me because I'm the kind of person, if you don't correct me, I'm going to keep doing it wrong for the rest of eternity.
Oh man, and that is what I love about writers and writing is there's no right or wrong way to be a writer.
I mean, ultimately, like I said, if you're making some kind of progress, and Oscar, don't go by how many words you got. Even if you only put 20 words down, like Courtney said, that's progress. If you didn't write anything, if you spent the time, hey, I need to brainstorm because I need to think of what direction I'm going, that's fine. The only worst thing you could do is just literally sit here just like, I'm not brainstorming. I'm just literally staring at the screen. That's the only time I could ever say that you're not doing anything.
And you know what's interesting, Oscar? You bring up a really interesting point. You said NaNoWriMo has everyone thinking we need to do it all in one night. Okay, so like outside of all the NaNoWriMo controversy, so outside of that, my number one biggest problem with NaNoWriMo is that it creates this mindset that if I'm a writer, it's okay for me to write 1 month out of the year. And then the rest of the year is like, okay, well, I just wait until that month again. Now, I know they've done more things. I know they have Camp Nano during the summer, but I'm like, I'm a writer every single day. How come it's just 1 month? And I understand. I like the idea of incentivizing writing, but I think it's led to this idea over time, kind of like you've said, Oscar, that okay, then it's like, okay, I write a book 1 month out of the year. Then what's the rest of the year about? No, I write a book every single day out of the year. And if I need to take time for my mental health, I take time and I come back to it. But I don't, I'm like, I'm a writer all the time.
That's so true. And that's a good point.
And sometimes you need those breaks. When I finished my last chapter on Storm, I took a week break from it. I did not really write. That's when I just started working on little small projects, nothing related to science fiction. I started writing a fantasy book I was just so like, okay, I need a break from science fiction and trying to devise things to work and trying to study the laws of nature to study science to make sure I'm in science fiction, but I'm still within a realistic point of science fiction.
Nice. Yeah, having that break is really important too, to remember, like, give your brain some like breathing space, because then that also is where I found like a lot of your ideas come in and like, oh yeah, that's something that I'll need to fix in the next draft or something. But if you're too close to it, if you don't have that distance, then sometimes you don't see it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I know we're all on a good vibe.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel that last sprint was pretty productive for you two though, overall?
I'm writing anything is progress for me. You know that.
There you go. I'm writing that I need to make as much progress as possible and try to hit my goal. Like I put myself on a very high timeline because I like at the bottom of my heart, I really want to publish Scarecrow at a certain date.
Hey, come on. You and me are in the same boat.
I can't feel confident moving forward with my 5-month launch strategy, but I can't feel confident starting it, setting dates until this draft is at a certain state. Because then it still has to go through a reader. If I do a reader, it has to go through an editor, and it's still more of a process.
Hey, dude, like I said, I've been working on I was working on that first Storm book for 2 years. So
you go on your own timeline.
Yeah. The goal, it's great to have timelines set up, but don't ever set yourself up for failure.
Love that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if I've set myself up for failure with unrealistic goals. Well, I mean, I think because even when I don't meet my goals, I don't get upset. Like my success or failure rate isn't tied to my self-esteem because I know myself well enough. But a lot of people out there, right, they would not hit it and they would feel super upset. Right? For people who like don't hit like the NaNoWriMo goal, right? They don't hit 50,000, they're upset. And for me, I'd be like, dang, I like started a book. This sounds great.
It's always good when you set your goals up. Be flexible in your goals.
I love
if you don't make the deadline, that's fine. We can always push it back. I started publishing Storm on Amazon, and I think I've gone in 7 times and extended the deadline. Like, it's not getting published on this month, but I understand where you are because I'm kind of in the same boat where it's like I'm right there, right there. It's like you're at that last leg of the race. You're at that last leg of the race, and you want to sprint to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
And
close you can feel it. Yep.
Yeah.
Oscar, I see you're like, dude, I started writing this book when I was pregnant. My son is coming up 3. I'm halfway through this. That's
And
awesome.
fine. That's
I'm
fine.
like, the reason, and I tell people this all the time, the only reason that I stream every day, that I'm able to do this like lifestyle, is because I'm at a point in my life where I was able to make the change, but I also don't have the responsibility of family or kids. If I had kids, like I wouldn't be able to do this. Okay.
Mhm.
I had a cat who didn't like people. So that's my responsibility.
That works.
Right. I was like, and I knew I couldn't compare myself to others. So I'm like, of course, daily writing works when you have the lifestyle that you can. I know a lot of writers and authors who've taken years upon years to write a book. Right.
Yeah.
Come on, look at George R.R. Martin. I think he's 4 years on the same book.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Don't get me started on the Winds of Winter. Oh my God. Did you guys see that? I mean, you guys saw, I think that was like a month or 2 ago where he finally came out and George R. R. Martin made a statement. He's like, I'm not going to be finishing the Winds of Winter. He made a statement that he's not going to publish it.
What?
I mean, it's only been about 15 years since the last book.
I just don't understand that.
And that's
Like,
what
how do you
people
not want
get
to
upset.
finish
I
your
mean, he's like
story?
everything people get upset because I mean, he wrote the first 5 books. He set up expectation. Game of Thrones blew up around book
3.
Actually, I think book 5. I mean, I think it started around book 5. Yeah, that's a whole thing. But he's considered one of the most prolific fantasy writers of this era because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do?
Go concede him to some kind of book hell where you don't finish your books.
So
Like, you are
evil.
not allowed to do that. The only reason you are not allowed to finish is if you pass away prematurely. But
That's
even
what I was
then,
gonna
like, perfect example, Brandon Sanderson, Wheel of Time. The author for Wheel of Time, Robert Jordan, passed away from cancer, I believe. So then his wife and their organization hired Brandon to finish the series.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a way to finish it.
What was that?
There's always a way to finish the story.
There is. I know. It's like if I ever had a will, my only wish would be finish the Last Scarecrow. Find somebody to finish the Last Scarecrow. I have all my notes somewhere, so I'm like, somebody can go with that and finish out or put a transcript. I don't know. Somebody finish the story for me.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna need us to catch up with Ghost in the Shell, where I can download all my brain and be like, go pick my brain then, because I have no notes down. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back to the first. I'm writing the second book. I've gone back to the first book because I'm thinking like, fuck me, what did I do in certain books? I gotta go back like, okay, shit. That's what I did.
Oh man! All right, guys, it's a good conversation. Time for some more writing.
Time to finish this.
Before we do, I need to do a quick call out to the channel membership. So today I launched the updated tier of the YouTube channel membership, and I think if I was ready, I would have had it pulled up. Let's see. So for those of you guys who know, so I'm going to God, where'd it go? Kauffman should be ready with this sort of thing. Nope, maybe. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. So I've launched the updated version of the channel membership today. Essentially, for those of you guys who are channel members already, you guys know that I've offered the $4.99. I'm like, I don't know, is this? I'm scrolling. There we go. Maybe. So I've offered the $4.99 tier for a little while. We launched the channel membership back in October. Those of you guys know who are channel members, you get the icons, you get the emojis, you get a free copy of the anthology, and then you also get the in addition to that, you're also getting the shout outs and the critique group. The big thing that people are joining for is the critique group. So I was like, I'll go to this one. So for those of you guys who've been able to see what it was like, here we go. This is a better view. So you'll get all these things. What's changing now, and I've talked about it for a few months, is we are now changing to there are now 2 tiers. There's the Right Now Writer tier, and then there's the Right Now Member tier. For those of you who enjoyed the critique group, the $9.99 tier is for the critique group members. The reason the critique group, so the $5 tier is always going to be a trial tier for me to try out new things. And I always knew that it was going to be raised. The reason being is because critique groups usually cost way more money. If you guys go look at like authors, content creators, they would normally charge 50 to hundreds for this style of critique group. And the fact that you got it for $5 for the first few months, now $10, isn't that much of an ask. I promise you with the value. And everybody who's shown up to the critique groups has gotten incredible value out of it. And I know based off feedback. So moving forward, since today was March 1st, now we have the 2 tiers. The $9.99 is the Right Now member for access to the monthly critique group. And then the $4.99, you're actually getting some additional things. So I've added, there's going to be 2 additional things to the $4.99 member tier. We're going to be getting a Right Now Writer Sprint and Accountability group. So you'll see how it works out in the I'll post updates to it. Essentially, this is going to be a bi-weekly group where members can show up to this private offline or private non-live stream group for us to check in on goals, help hold each other accountable, and do some writing together. Think of this as kind of like a closed session writers group, which I'm testing out. So it's a trial that I'm going to try out for I'll try out for a few months. In addition, I'm also trying out a new thing. I'm trying out 2 new things for the $4.99 tier. So in addition to this new writing and accountability group for the $4.99 tier, you're actually also going to be getting members only live streams. I'm going to start doing members only live streams. I want to put up more videos, and I just don't have the time to film the videos outside, like doing like long form videos. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start filming the videos as a member only live stream. As a member, you'll be able to show up and ask questions about the writing topic. And that's going to be the value. Now, the replay of these streams will eventually be uploaded as video content, but as a Right Now channel member, you'll be able to watch me as I'm filming it and then ask questions and get that direct one-on-one feedback throughout. So that's an additional incentive for the $4.99 tier. So you're getting 2 incentives: member only live streams, and then that Right Now that writing accountability group. So definitely go check it out. It's linked down in the YouTube channel description. And then in a perfect world, all right, there's the link. Let me drop that down in the chat if you want to go, if you're not already a member, or if you are, so you can always upgrade. So there's that. And Courtney, thank you so much. Appreciate you both in the community. Nil, Courtney, wonderful. Let's see, where's my applause? So glad. Courtney, Nil, thank you so much for the upgrade. I know I've absolutely loved the critique groups with you guys, and I'm so excited you guys will be able to join us for the March critique group. I will actually be doing the critique group moving forward. It used to be on the 15th of each month. It's now actually going to be based on members' schedules. So the critique group members, since I'm charging a little more for it, I'm now going to do a polling feature. So we'll get to choose times that work best for your schedule. So it's going to have a little bit more accessibility to it, which I think feels right. So I'll go into in depth a little bit more about what the new accountability group and the members only live streams look like on Monday. But this is the surface level one. Join the channel membership. You can click join below the YouTube stream or follow the link. And that's what I got. All right, excelente. And let me go back up here. All right, thanks for bearing with me, my friends. I usually don't do updates on weekends, but like because it was the first, I got the book club and the channel things. Like I knew I had to go through it. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into the writing sprint. Okay. Oh, that's right. I didn't even decide a time yet. Okay. Let's go 35. All right. We'll add on 10 minutes. Let's do it. 45 minutes. Longest sprint so far. Let's see if we can achieve success. All right. So, daily writing sprint number 3. We're going to do 45 minutes on the clock. Whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right. Writing sprint completed. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Woof. How'd you guys, how did that sprint treat you?
I finished my chapter, so it was really good for me.
Yeah, I finished the chapter as well, actually. I like kind of rushed through the last bit of it. I mean, it was just revising, but I wanted to get to the end of the chapter. Um,
Nice.
couldn't decide if I wanted to add another section to the end or not, or move it to the next chapter. I just haven't decided. How'd that go for you, Holly?
Good. I hit exactly 600 words. So that was a
Nice.
really good sprint for me.
Wow, nice, nice, nice. That's awesome.
Yes.
Sounds like we all made some progress. If you're here in the chat, did you guys make some progress as well? Drop a comment. I would love to hear. Man, I feel pretty accomplished.
Me too. Yeah, because through what I wrote this morning and now I've written over 1,700 words, which is really good for me.
I know. I was like, wow, actually, how much did I do? I didn't even check my word count. Nice. Courtney got some work as well. I was like, how much have I got today? Good
What's up?
question.
Hi, Adrian.
Hey, Adrian.
Hey, what's up, Adrian? I was like, good question.
I know I was doing math a little bit beforehand because I'm like, whenever it happened, I'm like, wait, how much did I? Wait, what did I do?
Okay, so I think I did about 2,000 words today overall.
Nice.
Wow. I'm like so glad that I got through the end of that chapter. I like, I don't know. I was going back and forth on introducing the next character. Hmm. Originally, in the original draft, I introduced the fourth character of their like team a little later in the next story arc, which is closer to the midpoint. And then I realized that it makes him feel like a little less predominant and disjointed since he's introduced a bunch of other characters. It's
Mm,
the same thing when I think about the original Wizard of Oz, how the Cowardly Lion is introduced last. He still feels predominant, but he's still the last one introduced. And the only reason he makes an impact on it is because they really play into his the coward thing, which they play into when they go to the Emerald City. But
yeah,
he has the less character development in the first half of the movie because he's last,
that's really good point.
which
So
is
do you
what
feel
I'm
like
trying
that's
to figure
happening
out
to
there.
yours? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out because like I have the Scarecrow, who's obviously Scarecrow's protagonist. The Crow's introduced on page 2, so they've been around with the Crow for a while. The Pixie is introduced about 30% in once Act 2 starts, but then the Bear is introduced about almost 40% in. Originally, he was introduced like 45% in, so I just kind of like moved up his introduction a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I feel like if he's at least before the midpoint, that
Hmm.
is important. And since you kind of shifted it a little bit more, then that's for sure. I'm like, everyone loves the Cowardly Lion, so I feel like everyone has that point, and you can be like, is his story meant to be here, start here, and like
Yeah, I
not
really had to like.
everyone needs that like same length of the arcs because maybe
Mhm.
someone does need a little more time for work on their problem, you know.
Yeah, I was like, that's why I feel like I was trying to make in the second draft. I was trying to make each of my major characters more like poignant in terms of what their like motivation is, and
Mhm.
trying to make it more I guess more impactful. But then I'm like, if the bear is introduced last of them, like, how do I make his emotional journey a little bit more impactful than the others since I have less time? I
Mm,
decided to go with love. I decided to go with love for him. And I was like, I think play to one of those ones. I think thinks a little more.
yeah, I like that. That's a
Mhm.
strong motivator.
Yes, and I was like, I think I like how I introduced the character. This bear character like shows up because they're all in a dream. They're trapped in a dream, and I think there's a very poignant quote where the bear shows up and says, Do you need a map to find true love?"
Oh,
And then he
that's
shows up sporadically throughout the dream. And then I insinuate that the bear was just died in the lake. But I think that's a memorable line, and I was trying to make him like memorable at first introduction. So
hmm.
I think that'll resonate with people. I think it will. So clearly, I'm good on my character development.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and it sounds like you guys are making some solid progress on your end. I know I saw
Yes.
Mike hop into the chat as well. Stephanie, Adrian, obviously I saw a couple of you guys hop in, which was awesome. And I think we're all making some good progress today, which is great. Do you guys feel pretty
Yeah.
good on your character development that you guys are doing for your second books?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like. Oh, or are you gonna? Sorry,
Go.
Cal.
Need to have a sign up. Talk. No talk.
No, I was just thinking right away because I send my first draft to my twin sister, who's my alpha reader, and I was like, is my main character like overreacting here? And I'm like, she might be. Maybe the other character needs to do something more to like justify this like anger. But
Mhm.
I was just like, I'll just send it to her. Just move along. Like you can fix it in the second draft. So that's like my thing trying to, and it's hard to be like have them have grown in the first book, but then still make them
Mhm.
make sure they're not making the same mistakes. I was like, oh, I don't want her to come off as naive. Like you're always trusting this person and you're getting
Mhm.
gypped again. So that's the thing that I'm like like at least putting in the back of my mind. So it wasn't until I hit like 50K that I started like a second draft notes document of like,
Mhm.
hey, make sure. So then I put there like, make sure this isn't overreacting or over dramatic and all of that. So that's what I'm dealing with right now with my characters.
Well, it's good that you're getting that real time feedback since you're a sisters, you're a alpha reader.
Very grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah, my thing is when I started off the second book, we start off with Horatio, and I have him going through his journey of being that overconfident asshole in the first book, to now he's more subdued, and he's actually trying to learn from Hoffman.
Mm.
Mm.
I think anytime we set up a character as an asshole type character and then try to give them a redemption arc, which if that is what it is, it's a redemption arc. I think one of the almost really good examples of it was probably Jaime Lannister
Oh yeah,
from a Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Almost, I disagree with his ending, but of all the characters, I wouldn't say his was the worst ending. Um, but yeah, because I mean, it's like if you're able to pull off a redemption, it's like why would you want to like a character that was previously an asshole?
Yep. That's
Right?
so true. And
And Game of Thrones, apparently, it's chopping off their arm.
Jamie. Yeah, it's like you literally gave the perfect example. It's like, yeah, that's all you have to say. Jamie Lannister.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
I wish I could
Well,
like be like, oh yeah, I want to rewatch that, but then I'm like, but then not the last. Like I'm like, oh, do I
I
still?
know. I rewatched it last year to see if it got better or worse. I think the first half of the last season got slightly better for me in the
Mm,
rewatch, like up until the Night King battle.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I was like, sure, I can accept rushed storylines and rushed plot lines. Um, but then the last like two episodes, it was still just like, no, I couldn't get behind the poor character development. Ah, God.
Yeah,
I
especially
can
when
I
you're a
can get
writer, you're
I
like,
can get behind
no.
things that I disagree with. I can get behind plot lines I disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
What I can't get behind is poor character development, where it's not like, God, that's annoying.
Oh.
But I'll join the other 90% of the world on how the show was received. And the book ending we'll never get to see apparently.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Who needs endings anyways? It just makes stories more impactful.
Did he say why he's not going to finish it?
He didn't. I forgot because I saw he mentioned a comment and he made like some sort of statement and I forgot what it was followed up by. But I mean, my guess is probably the pressure from how the show was received, and then fans' expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's written like many other series and spinoffs, and he's involved in I think House of Dragon and all the other stuff that's coming out. So clearly he's working on stuff. So it's not like he's not. It just something is he's either afraid or he doesn't know some reason or another. He's just not able to put the next book out.
Well, instead of pining for him to finish a series, I'm going to pine for HBO to do a limited series of Robert's Rebellion.
That would probably do well. I mean, I think the reason they haven't done that era because you can tell they're trying to go in these much further time segments. It's the same reason they haven't done a sequel spinoff yet, is because they're trying to play to the strengths of Game of Thrones, which was the first 6 seasons. They're trying to play to the strength of the world because they realize that once they touch anything that is connected to season 7 and 8, they open themselves up to the possibility of extreme expectations because of how mixed it was received.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why they haven't done the sequel. I mean, there was the Jon Snow sequel that got closest to being in development, but Kit Harington, there was creative differences between the way they wanted it with Kit Harington and then between the HBO executives.
Oh man, that would have been cool.
Yeah, that because that one got
Shoot.
furthest in production. I remember there was like 6 or 7 shows that were greenlit in the years following. Yeah, in the years following Game of Thrones. But then there's like 6 or 7. It got narrowed down to 3, and then the Jon Snow one was one of like the final contenders, but then it didn't get past the script stage, and then we ended up with House of Dragons. And then House of Dragons, I mean, you guys saw what it is. I enjoy House of the Dragons, and I think it's a decent show, but it is different. I think it still plays to the world, but it is a different type of storytelling. And then I think there's another one that's about to come out. Tales of Dunk, the Hedge Knight. It's like Dunk, and I forgot. It's something. It's, yeah.
I still need to watch House of Dragons, so
it's still entertaining, but it's definitely not Game of Thrones, but it's still entertaining, I'd say.
Cool.
Awesome. On that note, actually normally I'd probably go for a few more hours, but because I'm traveling, I'm gonna have to sign off. I feel like we've made some excellent progress today, though.
Yes,
this was great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, guys,
So
thank you
good.
so much for joining today and helping me motivate to write more.
hey, I got a chapter completed. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yay.
I was like, actually, yeah, I'm like, now I think about it, I'm like, wonder how close I got to my goal this month. I'll check that on post. But thank you, Holly. I hope you're able to make some progress as well. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was a great way to start March. So,
Yes.
All right, friends. It's been great. I'll be back tomorrow is the Create Right Now podcast. I'm having on a guest author, and she's going to be talking about how to balance writing with a full-time day job. She has a published book about it, and I think it's going to be an excellent conversation. So, community, make sure to come join us tomorrow. And book club, new YouTube membership, all the things, link down below. I appreciate you. I'm Kauffman. This is... And
Calvin.
These guys, excellent. And this is...
Holly.
And we'll catch you on the next stream. Oh, that one didn't work. Try this.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right